Is it time?
It is time.
Oh, God, here we go.
David says, pick me to lead a design team. I'll fix it, I'll slow it down, but we'll actually get decent cards. Okay, David, you're in. You are now the complete designer for Star Trek Attack Wing, and we will only play with your cards.
Elite talent upgrade. Options.
Lure. 5-point independent talent upgrade.
Oh, God.
This is options.
This is options.
All right. Where do we even start? During the planning phase, after all ships have chosen their maneuvers, you may discard this card to target an enemy ship that is not within range 1 to 3 of your ship. If you do this, change that ship's chosen maneuver. The target ship cannot look at or change their dial after you reset it. If the new maneuver would cause the ship to exit the play area or overlap another ship, the target ship may disregard the maneuver and not move that turn.
Okay. So, one way that this is not as completely broken as everybody says is I looked in the rulebook, and according to the rulebook, if you reveal a red maneuver and have an auxiliary power token, your opponent cannot choose another red maneuver for you.
Correct, but they can choose any legal maneuver.
Which can fly you off the board, which is the problem.
Yes.
So the two main things we were discussing on the Facebook group were what you said, Will, that in a joust or in any kind of initial engagement, if you can move one ship however you want, you're gonna have tactical superiority on the other ship and just cut them to that's gonna be enough to win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
just
look,
from the very basis of this game, if we are assuming that this is meant to be a strategy game, taking your own fleet, like I've had people in my OPs object to even any of the stealing cards because you're taking opponent's resources and using it against them. This is taking your opponent's resources to an even greater extreme because the entire point of this game from being flight path is that you move ships and you put the other guy in the front sights of your ships.
and look, let me just put it to you this way for folks at home. Go watch the World Championship video. If you think pulling one ship out of arc when it should be in arc, or have your opponents in arc, is not going to win you the game, look why Joseph lost. No offense, Joseph. But seriously, that ship turning away from the engagement, in my opinion, lost you the match. Right there. And that's what this card does. It says, do what Peter did to Joseph in the finals of the World Championships, once per game, every game. That's a problem.
Yeah. And then the second thing is
oh God.
That's even assuming no other shenanigans.
The Fletcher
Right.
the Fletcher maneuver, which is that you take a Borg ship, any ship that has a white back, which is only Borg ships?
Only
Yeah.
Borg ships.
So any Borg ship,
Or any ship within sufficient range of the edge will also have this happen to it.
yes. But against Borg ships, you can just do it right off the start. You use lure right off the beginning. You pick a red maneuver. Then you use a transwarp signal to give them an aux token. So then their red maneuver, when revealed, won't work. And then you select a backward 1 or a backward 2 and take the ship off the board, off the map and kill it. First round.
Right.
Because if someone reveals a red maneuver, just so we get the whole thing clear, if someone reveals a red maneuver while they have a power token in the rulebook, your opponent, which is going to be the same person that gave you that red maneuver if they're using this card, gets to choose any other legal maneuver for you.
And remember, that maneuver is not going to be the one revealed thanks to lure, which means that one can take you straight off the board.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And
now, I'm gonna be flat out honest here. I won an OP way back in the day. I think it was Collective OP1. In the finals, I hit my opponent's Maquis Raider with a Borg missile, did two aux tokens to it. Okay. Next turn, he green maneuvered, okay, and got rid of one of them. And then the turn after that, he did a red come about because he forgot about the other aux token. That won me the game because I changed his 3 flip to a 4 forward, and that ship got wrecked.
Mm.
yeah.
I mean, that, even if you don't use it to fly somebody off a board, the ability to just straight up select in a maneuver however you want is one thing. Number one. Number two, you can put your opponent off the board with a 3-turn if they're close to the edge really easily. And almost every ship has one of those. Number
Yeah,
3. So go
that's
ahead.
that's not putting fake messages into the mix too, so that you can get them even closer to the edge. And there's no way through placement really for a Borg ship to get around that, because even if they're faced sideways, they're useless. At the second they turn, they're
You
dead.
kill them. Yeah.
And
And
and then the final thing I wanted to say about it is that when you're playing around it, every single thing you do until it's used, you have to keep it in mind. So you're making your opponent think about that instead of other things too, right? It's there's a lot more mental strain playing against lure than not.
And it's even worse. Like we talked about transfer signal, okay, that works on the first turn, but 1 point gets you brunt, and that makes the combo work too.
Yes.
Not on the same ship as lure, but it's very easy to get them on another ship.
That's right. Because one's outside range 1 to 3, one's inside range 1 to 3.
But here's the other thing. Let's take, again, the red maneuvers out of it. We run into what's been called the arena problem, which is I cannot fly your ship off the board with lure. I am allowed to put it in a position where any maneuver you take on the next turn will fly it off the board. That's a problem.
Because there are plenty of ships in the game that do not have backup maneuvers at all.
Right, and we ran into this problem with Arena, where until WizKids made a rules change, 3/4 of the ships in the game were not viable for that OP, because if placed in a corner, if somebody put baby in a corner, they would die.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Apparently lots of people put baby in a corner.
And that was even at range 1 from every edge. With this, you can get all the way up to the...
So in the Facebook conversation too, there are cards. There are plenty of cards.
I mean, we talked about one in this pack.
Yeah,
but
I it's strong enough that, assuming the players are even roughly close to equal in skill, if you don't have one of those cards to counteract it, you lose the match.
And this warps the meta badly.
Yes.
And what's even worse is it really warps the meta. And I know we don't talk about this a lot, but this really badly warps the meta in Faction Pure. Because some races have very good answers to this, and some have absolutely none.
Right.
Especially the Borg. I mean, arguably, this one card makes Borg unplayable in Faction Pure. Now, I know a lot of Faction Pure players are probably going to be happy about that, but I wouldn't be. I mean,
I'm not sure that necessarily applies to Borg any more than any other race, but...
No, it does, because you can use the... Oh, no, there's no way to fly him off the board first turn in Faction Pure. You're absolutely correct. Never mind.
Unless you get one of those weird Faction Pures where you can take this and transwarp on the Sung.
That would be a ship Pure, and that actually really sucks too. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
It's a dual faction ship.
It is a dual faction ship, and it's the 2 factions you need. Actually, you could do this in Brunt on the Krenum time ship too.
Except you're still in the range problems, but
not if somehow you manage to at end of turn move out of range after you brunted, or move during the planning phase or something. I don't know.
But even in good old cross faction, this is a game deciding card.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is. See, you guys thought we were going to argue about this, but you did a very good job of convincing me that this card is a problem. Like, this card warps the format in really bad ways.
In the same vein that, conditional surrender shaped the regionals meta. Like, people say all the time, well, all you got to do is take a card to plan for it. And it's like, okay, take plans for every single one of your ships to do for this. The same thing happened in regionals when anywhere conditional surrender showed up, and people still didn't have answers, and those were the highest level events at their time. There was maybe two other people in a regional. There were 2 other people in North Carolina that had it and had answers to it, and that was like it. And we all placed in the top 4.
And here's the deal. I can take answers to this, but the fact of the matter is, first of all, Uhura might not work. Uhura is a good answer. Uhura might not work
Mhm.
because it says you can't change the maneuver.
Yep.
So, in fact, any of the cards I'm thinking of might not work. I don't even know if the autopilot thing you were just talking about works.
It says disregard.
Yeah, it says disregard the maneuver, not change
Okay.
it.
Okay. Well, in that case, yeah. So auto navigation would not work. Power distribution grid would, but forcing me into a red turn maneuver is going to suck a lot. Like, to be absolutely honest with you, a red hard turn is probably what I'm gonna pick with Lure. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And just to make sure everybody has like the clear idea of how bad this is, like even if you think you can like outfly it, the problem is that you must keep your ships at exactly range 2 or greater from the edge of the board at all times to avoid these problems.
And by the way, that's even closer to the edge of the board, or even further away from the edge of the board if I have fake messages. Because Joseph talked about, I can fake messages and then I can lure. Or I can lure and then I can fake messages.
Right.
If you have lure and fake messages, you have to stay outside range 3 from the edge of the board. Do you remember? Do you guys remember Tholian Web? Because we're going to make you remember Tholian Web.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. By the way, I'm going to go look at fake messages. Yeah. So this is a it says a one straight maneuver. Mm-hmm. That means it's a white one straight maneuver.
Yeah.
Which means if I give you an
no. It says turn your dial to a one straight maneuver.
Force that ship to change its maneuver. Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yes.
Wait.
That one I knew.
Sorry. How does this work against Voyager?
That was always the question, and we never got a really sufficient answer.
It does work. You can do it on Voyager, though. That got ruled, I think.
I thought so, but I couldn't find it on the rules form again.
All right, whatever. I don't care. But
it doesn't really matter.
The point is, this is... And that's in Faction 2. Like, I can do that in a Faction Pure game for all you Faction Purists. I can lure your ship and then fake messages you the next turn. That is a thing I can do.
If you can outfly someone who has this stuff and you don't have it, then there's nothing that... You're so much better than them that there's no cards they could have that could beat you, right?
Yeah, basically.
You know? So...
Yeah, for the same reason that the first time people saw Cloaked Minds, that all of a sudden every turn took twice as long trying to account for them, Lure is going to make that happen for as long as it's in play.
Yeah, and there's no, I mean, and unlike Cloaked Minds you can learn how to work around. Mm-hmm. Because they're going to work the same every time. This card is always dangerous, and it's going to be dangerous in a different way every single time you see it. And that sucks.
Cloaked Minds, there's Gull, Damar, there's Navigational Deflector. There's stuff that gives you an advantage against it, but the best way to deal with Cloaked Minds is just good flying, right? And that's why we don't take those other cards. There's nothing good to counteract this, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this breaks that very simple thing that, if you can fly well, you can still do all right.
Yes. But. And even if the Fletcher maneuver gets warped into not working, which it shouldn't, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did, that still leaves the other half of the equation, which is just as
awful.
Yeah, just as awful. Just as powerful.
I mean, honestly, it makes me want to play space stations because it's really hard to wreck a space station with this. Except, wait, do space stations have backups?
Nope.
Do they have white backups?
No.
You sure?
Pretty sure. They've got spins, they've got forward, and they've got more spins.
And they also have a stay in your one place.
Yeah.
Let me just look. Whatever. I don't care. Mm-hmm. Not super relevant.
But
yeah, you're right. They just have rotate and all stop. Okay.
So all the terrible things you can do with Lure, just to
no. You know what? They have one white backwards diagonals.
That's spinning.
No, it's not.
Yeah, you're right.
Are you sure?
It is back diagonal.
You can move back diagonal. Yeah. So bam, it kills so much stuff. It's ridiculous. This is not okay.
I'll check it out later.
But I'm looking at. Never mind. Whatever.
What are some of the cards that stop it outside of this pack? There's two for sure in this pack, right?
No, there's only one because the auto navigate is change your maneuver.
Yeah, but there's the power distribution grid, and
Oh, and
there's
there's all stop.
and there's the emergency shutdown.
Emergency shutdown. Hold on a sec. Actually, let me look.
There's the Borg card that turns any red maneuver into a white maneuver, but that's not exactly shutting it down.
No.
No.
I mean, the same with the Pasteur thing. Well, no, that's not going to help you because you're probably going to take a turn or a turnaround.
Yeah.
Full stop also works.
Okay, so full stop. That's 3 cards.
The problem with this, even if you're using those, your other ship is still going to be out of position from the rest of your fleet.
Yeah.
Well,
Unless you put it on both.
The other thing is, you have to protect against every ship, or on every ship. Sorry.
In fact, is the hard turn card? Okay, power distribution grid is not unique, but as I said, that doesn't really help because red hard turn is probably going to screw me up anyway.
Like the nasty things you can do, like we've all gone over, is if you're within range 2 of the 3 of the board, if your ship only has 2 and 3 turns, the 3 turn will make it so that you cannot get back on the board. If you have a Federation fleet captain, the independent one that lets you take the 1 turns, you can just barely make it if you're exactly range 2 from the board. If you're any closer than that, you're still going off the board.
Unless you have a backup, is the other thing. But if you have an aux token, no backup for you.
We have the power token into any other maneuver to actually send you off the board trick. We have even if you're not anywhere near the edge of the board, turn your ship away, and that's giving free shots to your opponent for a turn. And for anyone who has ever lost a game simply because of the stunned helmsman crit, you know exactly how terrible losing your shots for 1 turn can be.
And nice, Will. But you know what else? And range 2 of the edge? Hell no. Range 3 if I have faked messages.
And beyond that, one of the other fun things is that, it only works outside of range 1 to 3. All you have to do is get real close. If you start out, a lot of jousts start out just outside of a range 3, like a range 4-ish band, if there were one. And if your ship has come-abouts, they come about you right into the initial engagement. You're facing the wrong way with a power token. That's at least 2 turns of free shots they got on you.
Yeah, I mean, and even if it's not, all I have to do as a lure player to avoid that is just go 1 forward. Like this isn't rocket science. This says, look, who here remembers Dominion War OP6? Where we had 1 foot of playable space thanks to Deep Space Nine. This is this all over again.
I was going to say more like Collective OP3, but... or is that Resistance OP3? Where the Borg had half the board?
I think it was Resistance like OP1.
It was the last one because it was the Voyager finale.
Yeah.
Resistance.
Yeah, Resistance. That was Resistance.
One more thing that we haven't even actually mentioned yet is that the target ship can... what is it? If the target ship may disregard the maneuver if it was... forced out, or if it would overlap another ship. This says nothing about overlapping planets.
Oh, that sucks.
I can run you into a planet.
Or Tholian webs. Or...
Yeah.
Ooh, God, that's rough.
Now, overlapping other ships is a little bit of a narrow window, because if you can figure out what your opponent's going to do, you can move your ships off the start to... get in the way, and then you can just
not if he targets your lowest captain skill ship.
True, but then that's something at least.
And then the other thing is you would have to be able to do that all game long.
Yeah.
Well, no, once he uses it.
Oh yeah, but if he doesn't use it that turn, every turn that he still has it, you have to try to figure out a way to collide all of your ships. Yeah, and then if they do collide, if he doesn't use it, they collide.
And
because it's after dials are set.
And here's the thing: you have to have enough ships to cover every possible move that could screw you.
Can you change the other ship styles?
You should be able to.
Yeah, you just can't change the one ship.
No, you can actually. This is after everyone is locked in.
But it just says you cannot change the target ship's chosen maneuver.
After all ships
all
have chosen
ships-
their maneuvers. So everyone has to have chosen their maneuvers before you can use this.
That's
So
actually true. Yeah, you have to go dials down before you use this.
hmm
And
is
here's
is dials down actually an official state of the game?
Yeah, at the end of the planning phase or something
yeah,
like that.
I
Like if I
assume it
put
must be.
if I put my dials down, someone can still use cloak mines, and then I'm allowed to change my maneuver after that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but does
because
it
they don't
say
state.
after?
Yeah, they don't state after your stuff is down. It's at the beginning of the planning phase.
Okay, hold on a sec. I'm gonna look for a card.
Anything that happens
Crew
during the planning phase,
independent.
like you're not locked in until that very last moment when all of the ships have chosen their maneuvers.
Aaron Hansen.
I love Aaron Hansen.
During the planning phase, after all ships have chosen their maneuvers, you can't change your maneuver. You cannot change your other ship's maneuver after somebody Aaron Hansens you. And the ruling was, you can't. No, that was for cloaking. Never mind. But like that's another card. Yeah, you can't change maneuvers after this happens.
Mm-hmm. The only reason you can do it for cloaks mines is because it says during the planning phase or at the start of the planning phase, like because the planning phase is not over. At this point, the planning phase is ending.
Yeah.
This says during the planning phase as well.
After all ships have chosen their maneuvers, dude. Like that's very clear.
Well, that's true, I guess.
We can hope it doesn't work that way, but
I mean, look.
even if it didn't work that way, you'd still be screwed.
Let me put it this way, Joseph. Okay. During the planning, this is Aaron Hansen. During the planning phase, after all ships have chosen their maneuvers, you may discard this card to target one enemy ship at range 1 to 3 and look at that ship's chosen maneuver. You may then change your maneuver. The target ship cannot change its maneuver after you look at it. If I use Aaron Hansen on opponent's ships A, can he change the maneuvers of B and C?
Well, that's we're discussing, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, as far as I know, Aaron Hansen has always been played that the answer is no.
Because their maneuvers have already been chosen.
Has there been a ruling on it? I'm not strongly disagreeing. I just think that there's nothing in the language of the game that, like, choosing your maneuver doesn't. You move out of that part of the planning phase through agreement.
All right, I'm gonna pull out the rule book. Hold on, I need to look it up.
I thought you actually found a ruling on the forum, Tucker.
I haven't. I'm looking at these. You go look at the forum because I'm on a phone. I'm looking at the rule book.
Done.
It's not a minor point, but it doesn't take away from anything else we said about lure, whatever the answer is. Jennifer Cisco is another thing that can stop it off the beginning too. That's another card they were talking about.
Maneuver
for the one turn.
Speed difficulty.
So that stops the first turn. Whatchamacallit, but that still doesn't help later.
The Fletcher maneuver stops that because you can get your Borg ships into the maneuver.
Okay, here we go. After all ships have been assigned maneuver, this is on page 8, planning phase. During this phase, each player uses maneuver dial to secretly choose one maneuver for each of his ships. The selection on the dial dictates how his moves move during the next activation phase. The players must assign a dial to each ship. After all ships have been assigned maneuver dials, continue to the action phase. Dials down. Phase immediately ends unless you have cards like this to trigger it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I agree.
So this is just awful. This is just awful. That's the answer. This is just awful.
This is the worst thing I think that has happened to the game, even more than. Okay, maybe not more than Borg.
This is the worst thing that has happened to the game since that little window when Wayun, Varel, conditional surrender, and Kos all worked together, or not
Kos dispersion field.
Dispersion field. Yeah.
Oh, this is much more disruptive than that.
I guess.
The other thing I don't like about it is that.
The other thing I don't like about it is that it is going to make people want to quit the first time they face it.
That's exactly what I was about to say. It's
yeah.
Not that losses are enjoyable, but showing up and having someone do this to your Borg ship on the first round, or whatever ship because you didn't place carefully enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna suck.
You're not coming back, probably.
I mean, hell, I look. Even if you place your Romulan, even if we place half the ships in the game perfectly, I can just 3 come about you on the first turn. And like that's 2 turns of you not being able to do shit with that ship.
Though, what will make up for it all is if Peter doesn't watch this and I get to do this to him.
Nice.
And when I reveal the red maneuver, I'll cluck my tongue and tell him he shouldn't have chosen a red maneuver.
No. What you need to say is, "Oh, you chose a red maneuver. Did you forget about your auxiliary power token?"
Oh,
That's what you need to say.
I don't know if it'll work now though, because Peter's probably not watching, but Chris Dove probably is. Ooh, this will test his loyalty to me or to Peter. If he tells me.
Ooh, he went there.
I don't know. What's his name in chat?
I don't know.
But yeah.
Usually-
Also, for anyone who says pulling this on a noob is just bad sportsmanship, this exists. It happens. It's going to happen. You gotta show someone what's going to happen in the game eventually, and the fact that this is possible at all is not right.
And here's the thing about sportsmanship stuff is that's an endless rabbit hole. But more than that, okay, if I'm playing someone who's got a couple of Reliant class ships. Fine, I'm going to tell them about it. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to beat them, but I'm not going to lose a game that I could otherwise win because
because one of the major starting points of of these conversations was someone posted, "Hey, can we all just agree to ban this card?"
The answer is,
I think Robert was being a little facetious when he said that, but yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that he was, because this wants to. This wants to get banned.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can see the discussion for banning this card. As long as this card is legal, I will use it. That is who I am.
Every single fleet, every single time.
Pretty much. I mean, I'm already trying to figure it. Like, let me put it to you this way, okay? I would consider on a Borg ship running this instead of mag charges. That's how ridiculous it is.
In Space Dock, since this card's come out, all my builds that don't have lure in it are called non-lure builds because they're just a theoretical exercise at this point.
They're lureless.
Yeah, lureless.
And I mean, by the way, here's a fun one. Here's a fun one for you. By the way, actually, I just realized fake messages plus lure. First turn, I 3-come about you. Second turn, I 1-forward you. What now?
You can still turn out of it. Hard turn out of it.
Are you sure?
As long as your 1-forward was a green.
Okay, but that's still a ridiculous amount of time. That is 4 turns minimum.
Yeah, because you're still after that. Assuming that the ship was at as far forward as it could be, you still have enough time. You still have enough space to 2 and 3 turn out of that.
Okay.
The fleet captain ones are white, right? But
yeah.
fake messages was ruled that it's a green if it's green on the ship.
Yeah, and every green 1-forward is a green on every ship.
Oh yeah, because it says change your maneuver dial.
Mm-hmm.
As Will mentioned to me earlier, so you do the ship's 1-forward.
Yeah, but was it ruled on? Or you're just using common sense?
We're just using the cards as written.
Because using common sense and reading the card as written sometimes gets me worried in this game, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's actually, I would need to go, Will, he's right, I would need to go look and see what change your maneuver dial does. Because, I mean, the question is what happens, frankly, it's because Voyager exists. Voyager existing may make it a white maneuver, because it is possible for you to not have that on your dial.
Mm-hmm. But that would be only for Voyager.
No, because it's change your ship's maneuver to a 1 white straight. Can you change your dial to a maneuver that is not on it? That's the question.
Oh, I have the can fake messages be used on a ship that doesn't have it.
Okay, what does it say?
Can fake messages be used to force a ship to do a maneuver that is not on its maneuver dial, i.e. Voyager? Yes.
And that's it. That's all I was going to say.
So then, that's the answer. Then you make a ship do a 1 white forward because it's defined on the card.
Well, it's not defined as a 1 white forward on the card. It's just defined as change it to a 1.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's defined as a 1 forward. If it has a distance and a direction listed, it is a white maneuver. That's why Fleet Captain works the way it does.
I don't want to hunt through
Let me
Wharf
put it
today.
to you this way.
I'm not going to hunt through Wharf tonight. The thing is that it's not... Of all the terrible things that can happen with this card, we've already know all the terrible ones with or without terrible rulings.
Right, like, all we are doing now is winnowing the possibilities of how many awful ways can I ruin somebody's day on the first turn.
Yes.
Like, do you realize what a bad place that is to be?
This is the only card that I have seen that close to being this ban worthy since Cloaked Minds. And I would play this more often than I would play Cloaked Minds.
This is better than Cloaked Minds. This is way better than Cloaked Minds.
Yes.
It's way... Cloaked Minds is a great card.
Cloaked Minds is an insane card already.
Cloaked Minds...
It makes the game better. That it exists makes the game better.
I know at least half a dozen to a dozen people that would disagree with you, but they don't play anymore. So
this game, trust me, I've tested it. This game is worse without Cloaked Minds.
Yeah, but that's for us guys. That might not be for the general population.
That may be true, but this is bad for everyone.
This is bad. This is very bad for everyone. So, guys, we spent 30 minutes talking about lure.
Yeah, and we weren't even arguing. Well, we were a little bit, but like, we were arguing on like, does this screw us completely or just mostly?
And the answer is a resounding completely, I believe. Myth confirmed.
Yeah.
Is there even a simple errata that solves it?
No.
This card is banned.
No. You know what it is? This you can take an Ox token and not make the move. Like Thoughtmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody plays Thoughtmaker.
Yeah.
Yes. This would still be a lot better than Thoughtmaker because
It would
it's
still be
outside of range 3 instead of range 1 to 2, but it would be
more fair.
you could deal with it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It would need to have some other direct mitigation component to it. Like on the card itself, not in a response card. Like, ignore for an Ox token, I think, is enough to make this not playable anymore. But ignore this maneuver to disable your captain and take an Ox token, I think would make it right around the right power level.
Maybe. I mean,
you need some kind of sufficient penalty because the amount of sheer crap you can pull on someone with this is that insane.
Well, the thing is, though, it's not that ignore for an Ox token like the problem. The power of the card is even with ignore for an Ox token, you still have to play around it really carefully, and that's the power of the card. The power of the card in that case does not become the ability; it becomes the threat of the card. It's what what the hell was his name? He wrote the multiplayer Magic column on the Wizards website for years. It's what he calls a spider card. It's not that the ability itself is that terribly hard to deal with if it's the ignore for Nox token version. It's that the threat of it makes you play so much differently.
Yes.
Either way, it would need severe changes for it to be even remotely fair.
Yeah, I mean, and let's not pretend that ignore for an Ox token is not a severe change. That is a huge change to the card's functionality.
No, but it's a simple or simpler than what they did to Koss and
yeah, because those cards don't even read the same anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hell, even Thaleron weapon doesn't read the same anymore, and that was only to deal with one card.
Look, one of the reasons I don't run Thaleron weapon is that I no longer understand how Thaleron weapon works. So,
all right. Well, I think that's good for lure. I think we should start wrapping it up. You all know our opinions on this now. This is going to be the part 4 of our 3-part episode.
Yeah.
But just to finish off, all kinds of cool stuff. We're finally caught up on all the ships here on State of the Federation. So next week, did we have something planned specific for next week? Because next week I think we were gonna just go with State of the Game.
Well, I was suggesting that for episode 51 because that's our birthday episode, and it's also exactly 25 episodes after the last State of the Game, which was episode 26. It will also give us more time to evaluate lure in the field. But it's up to you.
I'm cool with going first state of the game. Number one, I'm not going to get any more work in the field, so that's going to be all you and Joseph. But,
I went down here. This ship, aside from one copy of the Rotosha, this ship did not have anything more recent than Wave 11.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But you are at a shop, and you're getting to play this tonight, so...
That's the hope. Anyway, I think we should stop because I want to go do that.
Indeed. Any other news? Next week, State of the Game. After that, Year of Hell.
I guess so. And
since that's coming up, hopefully the prize pack gets released, and about that time we should start getting the next wave previews too.
Sounds good. And then what was I going to say? Oh yeah, don't forget Stephen Tewes' event at Gen Con.
If you're going,
all 3
Gen
Q
Con.
scenarios. Great time to pick up the prizes.
If you still got time before next weekend, there's a big event going down in South Carolina on the 18th. All 3 QOPs back to back. I'm almost tempted to drive up to that one, except that it's like 6 hours. If it was 4, I might have been tempted.
Do it for, come on, 6 hours, do it. Stay overnight somewhere. Beat the shit out of everybody. It'll be great.
We'll see.
You got to stay in practice, Will.
In theory.
And it's not like Peter or Joseph will be there, so. Hey-o!
Oh, burns. But yeah, any other news that I'm missing right now? Anything you can think of, Joseph?
No, not off the top of my head.
Anything cool about you happening?
No, in the attack wing lull, so we'll see. Peter and I are probably going to be doing some testing tomorrow, so I guess that's something to look forward to, attack wing wise, but nothing beyond that.
We'll take tallies of the lure versus lure matchup.
Well, I don't know. He's actually kind of excited about the Dauntless, so I'm curious what that's possibly going to look like.
7 cloaked minds.
Yeah, I guess so.
On a personal note, I did just get an email in the middle of this episode telling me that my grandfather is in the hospital. He is quite elderly. So if you listeners are of the praying type, I would appreciate your prayers in his direction. If you're not, just think good thoughts, okay?
Good thoughts. Good vibes your way.
Yeah. And his way.
And his way. Every way. Good vibes every way, man. Come on. The world needs more good vibes. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, then. I think that's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Make sure you follow us over on Facebook and Twitter, and well, I don't know if we still update Twitter, but keep track of us on Facebook for next episodes. Definitely tune in next week for State of the Game, and if you're on this Attack Wing community or on Board Game Geek, I will be posting a question or two for you guys so I can get some more info to actually bring up at the State of the Game meeting.
And actually, on the Twitter, everything we post to Facebook automatically goes to the Twitter. So if you're not the Facebook type, you can do that too.
Excellent. All right, guys. Thanks everyone for coming out. Hope you all learned something new and cool. And then until next week, I guess. Yeah. May Q be generous with your dice. Have a good night, everybody.
State of the Federation is a production of Will Sanchez, Tucker Kobe, and Joseph Bandu. We are not associated nor affiliated with WizKids NECA Games, and all opinions are our own except where otherwise expressly stated. All copyrights are copyright the respective rights holders.